That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. That is for Zakat, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. That is for Salamun Alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem. I'm sure all of us are enjoying the spirit of Ramadan, which is the spirit of giving, sharing, and so on and so forth. Today we are looking at how we are going to calculate our zakat for the benefit of the Muslims as well as non-Muslims in our society. Zakat, as third pillar of Islam, has two important aspects. The first aspect is the spiritual aspect, whereby as a zakat payers, you are relating with Allah. And when you relate with Allah sincerely, you have your reward. And the second aspect of it is you are equally relating with human being. You are making life better for the less privileged in the society. It's quite different from all other pillars of Islam. When you pray, it's between you and Allah. When you fast in this month of Ramadan, it's between you and Allah. When you go on Hajj, and so on and so forth. But Zakat has two relationships, one with Allah and the other one with other fellow human beings. And that's why it's central, it's the top pillar of Islam. And as a conscious Muslims who has been praying all our life, and you have equally been fasting all our life, is it not better for you to have a better understanding of how to calculate your zakat? I'm sure you'll say yes. Zakat has to be paid when your wealth reaches nisab. That's the minimum amount that is expected that you must have before you are qualified to pay zakat. And this is either the equivalent of 20 dinar or 200 dinar, which have equivalents in naira or in any other value. In Nigeria today, the nisab of gold, 18 karat, is about 3.7 million, while that of silver is about 368,000 naira. We'll see quite different nisab outside there. I don't want to discuss about why the differences, but what is important is for you to know how to calculate your zakat. The first important thing that you should know when you want to calculate your zakat is to bring forward your intention. The way you have intention to pray each time you go and say your prayer. Equally, the way you have intention of going on Hajj or performing any act of ibadah, that's the same way that you must come up with your intention. It is very, very important, because along the line, you're likely going to have some challenges if your intention is not clear. And that's why the very first hadith that most of us used to remember is innamal a'malu binniyah. Every act of a human being is based on the intention behind such action. As Muslims, our intention should be very clear. Remember that verse of the Quran, Quran 98, verse 5 or thereabout, where Allah says, وَمَا هُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ حُنَفَاءَ وَيُقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمَةِ. We have not commanded us as human beings. Allah has not given us any command than to worship Him sincerely. And when He was enumerating the worship, He said to pray 5 times daily and to equally pay your zakat. And there are quite a number of verses in the Quran that zakat and salat were mentioned together. And this emphasized the importance of the zakat. So your intention should be very correct that you want to calculate your zakat. And this intention is to let you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the provider of all wealth, is seeing you when you are calculating your zakat. And that's why you have to be fair to yourself. You have to be just to yourself. You have to do it sincerely and make sure that no asset is left behind. and you get the correct zakat, and you ensure the zakat is given out to those who are in charge of zakat distribution, those who are administering the zakat in your community, not for you to start saying you want to distribute your zakat on your own. It's not what Islam has recommended. Zakat needs to be administered by administrators of zakat in our community. Now, having put forward your intention, the next step is to ensure that you are paying the zakat on your zakat anniversary date. What do you mean by zakat anniversary date? It's a date that you set aside to evaluate yourself annually, at least annually, to be sure that you are qualified to pay zakat or not. Most people don't have this zakat anniversary date, and this is a problem, because if you pay your zakat on the date that is above the anniversary date, that means your zakat is already due, and some days have gone before you start calculating the zakat. For example, if your zakat anniversary date is 28th of Ramadan, then you started to pay your zakat on 29th of Ramadan, so you are already violating the zakat anniversary date that you're supposed to be very careful with. So please keep your zakat anniversary date. Select your zakat anniversary date. Ideally, zakat anniversary date is supposed to be the date that you are qualified to pay zakat. But since most of us don't know this, then it's allowed that you can pick a date anytime that you like. It's not compulsory to be in the month of Ramadan, but most people choose month of Ramadan so that they can double their reward. You know, everything you are doing in the month of Ramadan is double reward from Allah. May Allah double all our reward for all of us. So when you have this zakat anniversary date, then you go ahead on your zakat anniversary date, you calculate all your assets. All your assets, I repeat. You have to take pain to ensure that you have all the list of assets that you have, such as your savings, the cash that you have in your bank account. If you have shares, whether in quoted company or in a non-quoted company, you have to add it as your asset. The amount of money that you borrowed out that you are expecting back, then you have to add it. And the property that you are developing for commercial purpose, you equally have to add it. The stock of your business or your shops or whatever you have to add it. All these are your assets. There is no way I can list all the assets, bearing in mind that we have different assets. So as a Muslims, all assets that are using for business, all assets that are not for personal use, must be added to your assets in calculating your zakat. So you sum all those together and you put it on one side. Then the second side is your liabilities that you have. Maybe you have school fee that you are yet to pay. You have to write it down. Your rent is due and you are yet to pay it. You have to write it down as your liabilities. You have gotten some items on credits. Yes, you have to write them down as your liabilities. All liabilities that you can think of, then you write them on one side. Then you now take this liability away from your assets. When you take liability from your assets, your net income is what we call zakatable amount, the amount that is subject to zakat. And the beauty about this is you are doing it once in a year, not every day. So it's important for you to have your zakat anniversary date, and don't forget you had your assets, and the next you had all your liability. Take away liabilities from your assets, then you have zakatable amount. Now this zakatable amount is what you will now compare with nisab. If the zakatable amount is equal or above the nisab, then you have to divide that wealth by 40, and that is the zakat that you are going to pay. Assuming I am using nisab of silver, which is about 368,000, and my net worth is just 1 million, then I will divide my 1 million naira by 40. I will get 25,000 naira as zakat. Just 25,000 out of 1 million. And if I have 4 million naira, which is another good net, which is above even gold nisab, I will equally divide it by 40 and I will get 100,000 naira. On 4 million naira, I'm going to pay just 100,000 naira as zakat. So this is how you calculate your zakat. And I want to strongly believe I've been able to explain in one way or the other. However, we might not be able to exhaust this. Please don't feel free to contact us at Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation if you need our support. Our foundation is actually out to support and to assist all Muslims to achieve this important aspect of our religion. Bearing in mind that if you pay your zakat, you have quite a number of rewards. One of them is your zakat. Zakat will protect you. Zakat will protect you as a person. It will protect your family as well. And it will equally protect your wealth. That's the first thing you are likely going to get from Allah. Then the next one you get from Allah, if you pay your zakat, is increase in your wealth. Increase in your wealth will continue to grow. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, zakat does not decrease wealth. Rather, zakat increases wealth. Experience of those who have paid zakat is a testimony to this. Many of them continue to thank Allah for taking that part. And the last but not the least, that if you pay your zakat, you will continue to enjoy blessings from Allah. You will continue to enjoy blessings from Allah, blessings that nobody can explain, contentment, happiness. However, refusing to pay zakat is not the way for anybody. Zakat destroys wealth. If there is zakat in your wealth and you refuse to take it, the likelihood that that wealth will be destroyed is very high. It is the Prophet ﷺ that said, if there is zakat in any wealth and the owner of the wealth refuses to remove the zakat is likely going to destroy that wealth. Until next time when we'll be meeting again on this particular important aspect of our religion, zakat and waqf, I remain yours sincerely, Sulaiman Olagunju for Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Introducing the YouTube buffet plan from MTN that gives you an all-you-can-eat experience. Now you can enjoy over 10 hours of Nollywood movies, web series, and comedy skits on YouTube. Dial *312*800# to activate the YouTube buffet plan from MTN. YouTube, made for you.
Lotus Bank, your dynamic bank, brings you warm greetings this holy month of Ramadan. As you observe your fast diligently, please remember to share Ramadan love and kindness to all around you. Ramadan Kareem from Lotus Bank.